What if I told you the scariest part of The Shining didn't happen on screen? What if the real terror was locked inside the set, where actors were broken, haunted, and pushed to the edge of madness? Stanley Kubrick's 1980 horror classic is legendary. But behind the camera, it became something darker, a psychological battlefield, a living nightmare. Tonight, we're revealing 20 shocking, weird, and hidden facts about The Shining that will change the way you see the film forever. From real injuries to government conspiracies, from ghost stories to lost footage, these secrets prove that the Overlook Hotel wasn't the only haunted place. And here's the twist. Stay until the end, because our bonus fact will reveal something so disturbing, so buried, that it could rewrite the entire legacy of this film. Fact 1. Shelley Duvall's torment was real. Shelley Duvall wasn't just acting terrified, she was living it. Kubrick demanded over 120 takes of the baseball bat scene, breaking her down with relentless pressure. Crew members were told not to comfort her. Her hair began falling out, her body shook from exhaustion, and her screams were genuine. When you watch Wendy Torrance cry on screen, you're witnessing real emotional collapse. A haunting performance born out of cruelty, not just craft. Fact 2. Nicholson's insanity diet. Jack Nicholson prepared for madness by living it. To fuel his frenzied performance, Nicholson ate nothing but cheese sandwiches, a food he despised. The disgust kept him on edge, agitated, and ready to snap. Combined with sleep deprivation from long shoots, Nicholson's fury became volcanic. Those manic outbursts, bulging eyes, and deranged expressions weren't just brilliant acting. They were the product of real, physical misery designed to push him into the mindset of Jack Torrance. Fact 3. The door that wouldn't break. In the iconic "Here's Johnny," Kubrick used a prop door meant to splinter easily. But Nicholson had once worked as a firefighter. He tore through the fake door in seconds, ruining takes. Frustrated, Kubrick replaced it with a real, heavy door. What you see on screen is Nicholson smashing through actual hardwood with an axe. Pure fury. No fakery. The sound of wood splintering? Real. The terror on Shelley Duvall's face as he breaks through? Even more real. Fact 4. A haunted hotel connection. Though filmed in England, the story's Overlook Hotel was inspired by the real Stanley Hotel in Colorado. Guests there have reported ghostly piano music, laughter in empty halls, and unseen hands tugging at their clothes. Stephen King himself stayed there and dreamed of a screaming boy running down its halls. That nightmare became The Shining. When Kubrick's version released, the Stanley Hotel leaned into its reputation, forever fusing real-life hauntings with the fictional horror of the film. Fact 5. The typewriter trick. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Kubrick didn't settle for one typed page. He had production assistants create hundreds, each slightly different, with mistakes and varied spacing. The detail was obsessive, but it created an unsettling reality. Every time Wendy flipped through the pages, she wasn't reading a prop. She was reading madness printed on paper. That decision turned an ordinary reveal into one of cinema's most chilling moments, a slow descent into insanity. Fact 6. Real injuries on set. During the baseball bat scene, Shelley Duvall's hands blistered and swelled from gripping the bat through endless takes. In another moment, Nicholson's axe splintered dangerously close to her head. Even Danny Lloyd, the child actor, later revealed he didn't realize it was a horror film at all. But the stress in the adults around him was palpable. The Shining blurred the line between performance and reality, leaving its cast with bruises, scars, and memories they carried for life. Fact 7. The carpet conspiracy. The hotel's patterned carpet became one of the most analyzed images in film history. Some believe it resembles NASA's launch pad, feeding a wild conspiracy that Kubrick directed the fake moon landing and used The Shining as his confession. The theory points to Danny wearing an Apollo 11 sweater in one scene. Coincidence? Or coded message? Kubrick never addressed it. But fans still argue that the carpet wasn't just a set design. It was a breadcrumb to hidden truth. Fact 8. The blood elevator nightmare. The elevator filled with blood is one of the most disturbing images in cinema. But shooting it was a logistical nightmare. Kubrick insisted it look real. Gallons of fake blood pouring from an opening. The first 3 attempts failed miserably, taking weeks to reset. When it finally worked, the footage looked so shocking the Motion Picture Association thought Kubrick used real blood. He didn't. But the image became so iconic it's still censored in some countries today. Fact 9. Danny's secret script. Danny Lloyd, only 6 years old, was never told Halechakti was filming a horror movie. Kubrick carefully shielded him, saying it was a family drama. In the infamous REDRUM scene, Danny believed he was practicing spelling. The truth was hidden until years later when he saw the completed film as a teenager. Imagine the shock. Realizing you'd starred in one of the most terrifying films ever made, without ever knowing you were part of its darkness. Fact 10. The impossible architecture fans have obsessed over the Overlook Hotel's impossible design. Hallways that lead to nowhere. Windows where no windows should exist. Kubrick deliberately built a set that defied logic. The maze-like architecture created a subconscious unease for viewers, the sense that something wasn't right, even if you couldn't explain why. This psychological trickery was Kubrick at his best, manipulating space to make you feel trapped, disoriented, and lost inside a hotel that seemed alive and malicious. Fact 11. Kubrick's endless takes. Kubrick was infamous for retakes, but The Shining became his ultimate experiment in obsession. Simple scenes were shot dozens, sometimes over 100 times. Even actors broke down crying from exhaustion. Kubrick believed repetition wore down the performance until only raw truth remained. But for his cast, it was torture. Shelley Duvall later called it the hardest shoot of her life. Nicholson claimed he burned through all his energy just trying to keep up with Kubrick's relentless pace. Fact 12. Hidden messages in set design. Kubrick left strange, unsettling details scattered through the film. A Native American motif on the walls hints at a buried history of violence. Food labels in the pantry display disturbing product names like Calumet. Even Jack's typewriter changes color between scenes. Fans argue these aren't mistakes. They're subliminal tricks meant to keep viewers uneasy. Kubrick was a master of visual storytelling, embedding symbols that whisper of conspiracies, curses, and something much darker lurking beneath the surface. Fact 13. Scatman Crothers' suffering. As Halloran, Scatman Crothers brought warmth to the film, but behind the scenes, he was pushed past breaking. Kubrick demanded 60 takes of a simple scene where Halloran talks to Danny. By the end, Crothers was sobbing, begging Kubrick to stop. Nicholson later said it was one of the cruelest things he'd ever witnessed. The torment paid off on screen, but Crothers never forgot it. The role aged him. It was less performance, more survival under Kubrick's perfectionism. Fact 14. The freezing set. To capture the blizzard finale, Kubrick had crews cover the set with tons of fake snow. The temperature on stage soared under bright lights, making the cast sweat despite the icy setting. Yet Nicholson had to act frostbitten, collapsing into the snowbank with frozen breath effects added later. For hours, he played dead while sweltering inside a frozen set. The irony was cruel. Audiences saw frostbite, but Nicholson was battling dehydration, exhaustion, and heat in a snowstorm that wasn't real. Fact 15. The hotel's real ghost story. During filming in England, crew members swore they saw strange shadows in the Overlook set. One cameraman reported doors slamming on their own. Another claimed to hear a child's laughter in an empty corridor. The stories became so widespread that some believed the set itself was cursed. Even years later, visitors at the Stanley Hotel, the real inspiration, still report hauntings. Whether coincidence or curse, The Shining blurred reality and the supernatural in terrifying ways. Fact 16. Kubrick vs. Stephen King. Stephen King hated Kubrick's adaptation. He called Jack Nicholson's performance wrong from the start because Jack already seemed crazy. King wrote his own TV miniseries years later to fix the story. But Kubrick didn't care. He gutted King's original themes, replacing alcoholism and redemption with madness and inevitability. The two clashed for decades. Ironically, King's hatred only made Kubrick's version more legendary, cementing it as the definitive Shining, a film even its creator couldn't escape. Fact 17. Nicholson's real rage. The bathroom axe scene feels feral because Nicholson truly lost control. To psych himself up, he reportedly listened to heavy metal and jumped around the set like a man possessed. When cameras rolled, Nicholson attacked the door with terrifying force. His screams, his eyes, his growls, it was raw, animalistic energy. Crew members later admitted they were scared to be near him. Nicholson wasn't just playing Jack Torrance. For a moment, he was Jack Torrance. Fact 18. The mysterious production fires. During filming, the set mysteriously caught fire and destroyed entire stages, delaying production for weeks. The cause was never fully explained. Some said faulty wiring. Others whispered it was sabotage. Kubrick, obsessed with control, rebuilt everything from scratch. But the fire added to the legend. A cursed film, haunted by forces that didn't want it completed. The delay cost millions, but Kubrick refused to compromise. The Overlook Hotel, it seemed, didn't want to let anyone escape. Fact 19. Lost footage in America. After the film's premiere, Kubrick suddenly ordered the last few minutes cut from U.S. prints. Those reels, showing Wendy and Danny in a hospital, were collected and destroyed. To this day, no one knows why. Did Kubrick regret softening the ending? Did he want the Overlook's horror to remain unresolved? The missing footage has never resurfaced, fueling endless speculation. Somewhere, locked away, could be a version of The Shining the world was never meant to see. Fact 20. The endless legacy over 40 years later. The Shining still sparks theories, essays, and documentaries. From Room 237 conspiracies to debates about its meaning, the film refuses to die. Kubrick created not just a horror film, but a labyrinth, one designed to trap audiences forever. Every watch reveals something new, unsettling, and sinister. And maybe that was Kubrick's true design. A movie that doesn't just scare you once, but keeps haunting you, like a ghost that won't let go. Bonus fact: the hidden frame. That shouldn't exist. Eagle-eyed fans swear that in one frame of the film, just a blink, there's a ghostly figure standing in the shadows of a hallway. It was never in the script, never explained. Crew members deny planting it, yet it remains. Was it a mistake? A trick of the light? Or did Kubrick capture something he couldn't control? This single, unexplained image fuels the idea that The Shining wasn't just a horror film. It was haunted itself.